Hello everyone and welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name's Stefan. Thank you for coming to my channel and for your support in general. I crossed over 2,000 subs and I think that's just fantastic. Again, thank you so very much. In fitting tribute, I'd like to look at what is arguably my most beautiful aquarium. Aquariums evolve and change over time, and some develop into a near perfect, beautiful state, while others degrade, and then those others that have degraded come back in full flower with or without our intervention, usually a combination of both leaving stuff alone at the right time and then interacting at the right time, keeping our hands in the tank for sure, but knowing when to keep them out as well. This is my ADA. I believe it's called the 60H, which means it's the 20 gallon plus, so it's about 22.5 gallons if you look up this aquarium on various websites that sell ADA products. It is a cube garden. That's the brand within the brand. And oh my God, is it ever a garden? Would you just look at this? Everything is now, to me, the 2.0, if not the 3.0 for this particular fish tank. The community fish are taking up the entire real estate of the aquarium, not going into one side or the other. They're all interacting with each other, both their own kind and others, in the tank in a true community fashion. Glorious harmony between all the fish. I couldn't be more pleased. I'll get in closer to them in a moment. But look at the plants, right? Plants are my thing, honestly, right now. It's a part of the hobby that's captivated me in the last 6 months to a year. And I've tried to up my game by including more stems, some more rare plants, and obviously, like so many of us, playing with the color red to see what I can get out of that remarkable color in a planted aquarium. In so many ways, this fish tank reminds me of one of my reef tanks, in that I had so many corals, both soft and hard corals, with their panoply of color variation. I fell in love with that as much, if not more so, than the fish towards the end of that reef tank. And I'm feeling the same vibe when it comes to encouraging outstanding plant growth within my aquariums. And this fish tank pretty much is doing the best job of all of them in terms of, I don't have any algae right now. I had some blackbeard algae. If you remember, not very long ago, I was dealing with that in this tank. And like I said earlier about things degrading and then coming into full flower, because of that degradation, the BBA or blackbeard algae, I intervened with this aquarium and pulled out the stems that were in the back, pogo stem and octopus, and I think I had some Lemonphilia sessiflora and some Rotala indica, all of that in the back of this aquarium. I pulled it all out, algae included, and from various sellers, both my LFS and online, I found some Ludwigia species. You see the super red mini in the back right, and then a classic Ludwigia repens, and then to the left here I've got from my own aquarium, beneath this Brazilian pennywort, I've got some Lemonphilia hyperoides, I've got some Rotala, I think it's either the H-Ra or another species. I've become thoroughly confused with all the different Rotala. They're so similar, but I've got the hyperoides, which is that thicker plant. There's a small one down there, and then you can see the Rotala with the orange tips. I am trying to work with stems like I have never done before. Before, I would deal primarily with cryptocorn, like you see flanking the mid-level here, and epiphytes like Anubias, and I had mosses, of course. These are Christmas or weeping moss, and you can see with the light and the CO2 how alive and vigorous they are, literally standing out from the driftwood. I mean, how cool is that? I'll trim it back, but within a few days it'll be just like that again if I'm lucky. Again, more crypts here, but so many of those were taken out when I was dealing with that algae outbreak. I've also kept this red tiger lotus low to the ground. The petals are super fat and happy, but I want some light penetration to play upon this combination. It's a hodgepodge really, but I like the effect. There's some little tops from the Super Red Mini, some Sterigen repens, the green plant, and there's mixed in there Blixa japonica, probably a few other species as well. The Blixa is this aloe vera looking plant. It's getting some red tint to it as well. I've got Bacopa here. It's not, this was a Platinum Carolina, I think, but I mean, it's Bacopa, and Bacopa is so cool, like a Dr. Seuss drawing. The stems are very firm and erect, excuse me, and the petals are distinct and separate, and you don't have deterioration at the bottom. Even in a tall tank, you get this almost artistic perfection in that particular plant. But I'm getting that in most of the plants back here. You know, in the past, when it came to Ludwigia repens, I'd get the glorious red tops, but within a few inches down below, everything would be deteriorated. And you know, I just didn't like that over time. But for whatever reason, I'm able to manage that better. I'm still gonna get a degradation of leaves down, very down, but since they're so obscured by the hardscape, it doesn't really cause too many problems. There are other plants in here that I may have forgot to mention. I am a big fan of putting as many plants in as much real estate as possible, provided that they all can survive and thrive as opposed to struggle. And if one plant starts to take over, I make a decision whether to intervene or to let that be a primary plant in the aquarium. And that's again another great example of when to put your hands in the tank and when to keep them out. So the fishies, black phantom tetras right front and center. The females are the more colorful, but the males have the higher dorsal fin. Obviously I've got some of both. This could not be a more common and iconic tropical fish. I'm sure some of you have had these if you don't have them already, but I hadn't. I'd never kept this fish, and I'm so glad I have it now. When I took out the 2 angelfish that had grown too big, again, when I decided to intervene, I put in a school of these, and they are always front and center, frisky, flashing one another, flirting with one another, so awesome. And the SB rasbora, this bronze colored, that look, the rasbora right here, right in the center. There's a whole big group of them in here as well. They look a lot like the harlequin rasboras, but in my view, they're more beautiful because they're more glimmering. They glimmer more than the harlequins, which are slightly bigger as well. I've got a growing group of rummy nose rasboras. These really came into their own when I took out the angelfish. You see the slate colored of their skin, so unusual. I believe they are scaleless, which makes them more delicate in terms of medications and things of that nature. I could be wrong, but what a stunning fish. Used to be rare and expensive, now fairly easy to get and a lot less expensive. The females are super drab, however, which is why I'm struggling to find one with my camera, even though I bet you they're right in the center here somewhere. I believe a few females for every species of fish you keep makes, in general, the colony more healthy and happy. And so I try to keep both, like you saw with the black phantom tetras, and as I said with the rummy nose rasboras. I see a female now. Let me try to isolate her. See that kind of, get some focus here. The camera doesn't even want to find her, she's so blasé. But it's that little kind of bronze colored minnow there, completely nondescript, especially compared to her cohorts. Now there should be 2 or 3 of those in here, and I have seen spawning between them. And oh yeah, lest I forget, now instantaneously, probably the biggest fish in this aquarium is still quite tiny. This lovely little honey gourami who is doing an amazing clash of colors, sitting amidst the super red mini. Gouramis are labyrinth fish, so they will behave in some respects like a betta fish. And bettas, as you know, if you've kept them, they like to rest and sit still on top of structure like a big leaf or a group of leaves and plants like this one. Almost like a clownfish hosting an anemone. I'm trying to go around here, but I've got this really cool, Higer makes these really cool see-through, these opaque thermometers, and I'm really digging that one. Now the temperature says 74.1. Those thermometers, as cool as they are, I find they read exactly 2 degrees cooler because of the glass and the ambient temperature, so it's actually 76 degrees in this aquarium. I probably would like it a touch warmer, but I don't know. Cool water is better than too hot of water in general, unless you're treating for ick or have certain species like discus. A little bit cooler is fine, and if you're gonna have a problem, I'd rather be 2 degrees cooler than 2 degrees too hot. To me, 84, 86 is more problematic than 72, 74. But I digress. The Anubias, these epiphytes here, such an anchoring plant. When I corrected the lion's share of blackbeard algae, I started getting promptly new growth all over the tank, and that's what these 2 leaves here represent. But if you climb up this great stalk covered in moss, there's 2 of them actually, you'll see more. That curved leaf is actually new growth, but the light is making it look a little wonky, but it's not, it's just folded. It's a leaf yet to unfold. I've got some bucephalandra in here as well. About 2 weeks ago, this one down here had a glorious flower, and I see another one developing. I'll find that for you. Right there. I believe that's coming. Yeah, that's from a booch plant. I don't know which kind. The bucephalandra flowers do not last very long. They have the mystique of once they bloom, I think they're only out for a couple days more, and then you'll find the petal floating around at the top of the water. Oh well, exotic, rare, beautiful. It all reminds me of that. As I pull back, you see the pothos all the way around, flanking the tank and framing it. I actually cut a lot of that back. There is a point when, while nature will always have a beautiful aesthetic, even an overgrown aquarium has its charms, but you do have to manage, and I had to intervene with the pothos plant, and I took a couple big stalks out. I wanted more light to come in right down off the twin star, which is what that light is, so that these reds in the back would be hit by it better than if that pothos was folded over. And to that end, here's a little hack. You see these 2 white smooth river stones? I put them on the lamp so that it's on a hang kit, but you see how it's slanted? Those stones weigh it down ever so slightly, so more par is hitting the back of the aquarium than if it was straight and true, which helps these red plants, and maybe it has something to do with why I'm getting more even plant growth and not as much deterioration lower into the tank. don't know what to tell you in terms of putting rocks on your light to weigh them one way or another. But the fun thing is they're in shadow constantly. They are beautiful rocks in and of themselves, and it seems to work. You know, if something works, you sort of go with it. I believe wholeheartedly in that ethos when it comes to this hobby. I've done so many fun little hacks and jerry rigs. I love seeing tips from you guys and making my own imagination spark and employing them in my fish room as well. Too many of those to mention. They just become absorbed into how I do things, and that's the greatness of FishTube. From your videos, I'm able to get better in this hobby, and I really do utilize so many things that I've learned from fish keepers on YouTube, to say nothing of my community in the Chicago area and the Chicago fish keeping area. And all of that has culminated, I think, in the beauty and perfection. And I'm using the word perfection and crediting luck and nature and I guess my own intervention, but you guys as well, all of the above. I'm so happy with the way this fish tank looks. That's why I've filmed it for you now. If you have any questions or comments, or would like to know more about what I'm doing in this aquarium, some of the technology I'm utilizing, it is CO2. I do run a canister filter. I'm happy to answer any and all questions. I really enjoy that camaraderie and being able to share my hobby with you, and in turn to receive your feedback. Okay, everybody. As always, keep your hands in the tank, unless you shouldn't. Ciao for now.